Triple H versus Kane. Now, as I said, this was sort of came from the fact that Chyna had turned on Triple H earlier in the year. Kane was kind of a reluctant member of the corporation. He'd been turned on by The Undertaker, and Vince was threatening effectively to put him in an insane asylum because he was Kane and was disturbed. So Kane kind of was beholden to the corporation without actually wanting really to be part of it. And so this match, Kane versus Triple H and DX were kind of quite a big part of the battle here between the corporation and everyone else, really. It went for 11 and a half minutes. It ends when Kane hits chokeslam, then tells Chyna to hit Triple H with a chair. Instead, she hits Kane in the back. Then Triple H is DQ'd, but Triple H hits Kane with the chair and pedigrees him on the chair. Triple H and Chyna then reunite to the cheers of the crowd. And I would say, as part of that Chyna is wearing the least practical pair of shoes that's ever been created. Massive stiletto heels in a wrestling ring just don't work. Matt, why don't we go with you?
So it's funny because I was just, as you were going through the finish thing, man, I was just looking through my own notes, and I confused myself with my own notes then, because I like the last thing I got, one of the very last notes I have is just block capitals, shite finish. I just thought, hang on, I was like, it was a pin and finish, but it wasn't that bad, I'm sure it was fine. Then I went, oh, no, it wasn't, was it? And we will get to that in a minute, but there's a couple of things to sort of, unpack from this. I mean, the Pete Rose chicken attack at the start, okay, Pete Rose loves Kane, wants to beat Kane, get to him, cool, why not? I was fine with that. I mean, Teddy Long's, who was the referee, his face was just a picture as Kane, kicked friggin' Pete Rose's ass. Just the look of just pure shock on Teddy Long's face was a sight to behold. So that was funny. The match, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was fascinating to hear like Michael Cole say that, you'd expect Triple H to be the underdog. And I mean, again, like I said earlier, I started watching 2001 onwards, so Triple H was damn sure not an underdog by that point. So to hear him referred to one, it blows my mind. So that was, certainly strange. Kane did one particular bump, which I just thought was so beyond stupid. He kind of tried to jump over the top rope. I don't know if it was like a kind of, plancher type thing, kind of like what The Undertaker does, I suppose. He was looking for that sort of thing, but he's so like clunky and awkward that it literally was as if he just threw himself over the top rope with just totally no regards for how he would land. And I just thought it was such a stupid thing to do, but that was bad. There was a couple of sort of stiff being thrown into the steel steps. I'm going to talk about this a lot throughout the show because it seemed to happen about 20 times in every match. The steel steps were probably the biggest part of the show. That happened a few times. It happened in this match, so that there was that. And then, like I said, then we get to the finish. Chyna does the distraction, hits Kane with the chair, and they go for a disqualification. I don't know how many times I've got to say this. I'm going to try not to get too upset about it because it's just pointless at the end of the day. There's just no need for it. They easily, if they wanted to screw Kane over, they easily could have just pinned him. There was no reason why they couldn't have. Stop with the stupid DQ finishes. It's a waste of people's time. I'm fed up of it. They could have beaten him, and yeah, whatever. Like I said, that really put a downer on this, and it wasn't the best match in the world. But
I mean, I agree with you in the sense that they didn't need this to be a DQ. It could easily be a pin, and probably should have been, but it's not important enough to care that much about it, Matt. It really isn't. Like, this is not a big deal, this match. It's really like they've got the main event, Steve Austin vs. The Rock. That's what matters on this show. Don't worry about anything else. The result of this match doesn't matter. And as we've said earlier on, it's not really about the wrestling at this time. It's really not.
It just offends me. It does at this point.
Well, we'll come on to the finish shortly. So I said earlier about that there was two matches that I thought that I've seemed to remember being quite boring, and I seem to remember this one being quite boring, but I didn't find it quite boring at all. I thought it was quite fast paced. I thought it was quite hard hitting. Again, quite surprised. I wasn't. There was a little bit of dread when it came on, and I, really enjoyed it. Just going about the Pete Rose and the chicken thing, I think it's brilliant, but I think that they should have gone all in, and I think they should have done it at 14, at 15, done it. They do it at 16, but I think they should do it at 17, 18, 19, and just keep going as long as they can go. Just keep having Pete Rose getting tombstone, then turn it into a thing where at WrestleMania 23 he's trying to avoid Kane. Do you know what I mean? in. I just think that they should have gone all in. I think it would have been fantastic. It might have been one of the things that goes on so long that it goes from being unfunny to back funny again. But anyway, that's just me. Thought the crowd were quite quiet until Chyna comes out. Teddy Long, yeah, I got that as a referee. I'm surprised he didn't make it a tag team match. But the end is that Chyna is turning on Kane to reunite with Triple H. That's the end goal in this match. So I think that the DQ is the perfect ending for the match. I think it's a perfect ending for the match.
He's walked out.
100% it is. How could it not be? The goal is Chyna is turning on Kane. So Chyna comes in with a chair. He says it, Triple H with it. He turns back. She wallops Kane with it, gets disqualified. It's perfect ending for that match. If that's the story that you're telling, the stories that you're saying is Chyna is turning on Kane and Triple H and Chyna are going to be together. Obviously, we know what's coming on later. It's the perfect ending for the match for me. I thought it was good.
I mean, I don't really agree with either of you because I said to Matt's point, there's no need to get worked up about it. It really does not matter. Like, it's not that important. But it is not perfect. If you're turning on someone, you don't want to help them win the match.
Yeah, but you've got to suspend your disbelief. You've got to suspend your disbelief a little bit there. Because I know that you don't like DQs, and sometimes I don't like them. But matches can't just, if they just ended in pinfalls and submissions, it'd be boring. So you've got to have a count out and DQ, but only if it matters for the story. And I think that matters for the story. I think it was a perfect ending. My personal opinion.
I agree that you've got to have some countouts and DQs, and I don't have a problem, especially if it's not important, especially if it doesn't make a difference. If you do it in the main event, I've got a serious problem. But anywhere else, I don't really mind too much. I just think that if you're gonna turn on someone, do it so that you ensure the guy you're turning on with wins the match. Surely, otherwise, what's the point? You may as well do it after the match. I just don't see the point.
Well, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's still perfect. Shut up. no, but it's like the shock factor. The shock factor's there in it.
If anything, she should have hit Triple H with the chair and got Kane DQ'd and then turned on Kane, because it makes about as much sense as turning on Kane in the first place, given that she'd already turned Triple H a couple of months before.
Well, everyone were turning all over the show, weren't they?
Yeah, totally. So this match, for me, was as good as The Undertaker Boss Man. I didn't think either of them were that great. I was a bit fed up with, didn't really interest in either of them. I think this was probably more interesting, but for me, there was far more telegraphed stuff in the Kane versus Triple H match. Just nearly everything they did was really telegraphed. You could see it coming from a mile off. So I wasn't overly impressed with that match. So we've now got this sort of suggestion, this sense that DX are back together, Triple H and Chyna with the rest of DX, even doing a sort of promo together just before the European title match, where Triple H says that Chyna's back home and DX is whole again, and when they're together, there's nothing stronger.